I arrived at the restaurant parking lot at 7:15 p.m., deliberately 15 minutes behind schedule. My wife had been messaging me constantly about punctuality, about tonight's significance, about how this launch would transform our lives. She had no clue how accurate that last statement would prove to be. The restaurant she named, the Meridian, represented 2 years of obsessive planning. Every detail from lighting to napkin colors, funded entirely with money she assumed would always be available to her. As I handed my decade-old Lexus keys to the disappointed valet, I straightened my best charcoal suit. If this was my final appearance among these people, I intended to look impeccable. The moment I entered, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations didn't halt, but they transformed, quieter, more deliberate. Eyes found me, followed by smiles that never reached anyone's faces. The kind that screamed, "We know your secret." I recognized the crowd, her culinary school network, wealthy investors who enjoyed her attention, food critics with champagne glasses, and supposedly mutual friends. Every single person stared at me like I was the punchline to a joke they'd all rehearsed at the bar. Ordering a double whiskey, I heard it clearly. "Can you believe the practice husband actually came?" Laughter erupted. Confident, unashamed laughter. Practiced husband. That's what they labeled me. There you are. Her voice cut through the noise, artificially bright. She approached in a black dress I'd never seen, probably purchased specifically for tonight with our joint funds while planning my exit. "Traffic," I replied simply. "Impressive place." Her smile tightened. "We need to talk, privately." I followed her to a back office, aware of every watching eye. Inside, she closed the door and retrieved a manila envelope from the desk. "I think we both recognize this marriage hasn't worked," she began. "I've prepared separation papers. Fair division, no drama. You're divorcing me at your opening night." I asked calmly. "I'm celebrating new beginnings," she corrected. "It's symbolic, symbolic," I repeated. "And the practiced husband comments." She flinched. "People exaggerate. Did you say it?" Her expression hardened. "Don't make this difficult. You've had a comfortable life. This isn't personal." I examined the documents, standard dissolution agreement. Perfectly reasonable on paper. What she didn't realize, every dollar in the Meridian was structured as a secured loan with specific recall provisions she'd overlooked 18 months ago. I signed every page without hesitation. Her visible relief was satisfying. She'd expected resistance. "One question," I said, standing. "Does your chef know you're divorcing me tonight? Does he know he's the real reason for your new beginning?" Her face drained of color. "Enjoy your evening," I said. Walking out. In my car, I made the first call. "David, execute the withdrawal. Empty every account by midnight." "Are you certain?" my attorney asked. "Completely." She signed the papers. Time to show her what practice actually means. By the time I reached home, 3 critical actions were underway. Harrison confirmed. All Meridian operating accounts would be emptied by 11:45 p.m. Every automatic payment, payroll, vendors, utilities, insurance, cancelled. David filed emergency motions to freeze joint accounts and notified the landlord about lease complications, the lease guaranteed. In my name, because her credit was insufficient. Peter compiled 6 months of evidence, photographs, text messages, hotel receipts documenting her affair with Chase. The executive chef, in my apartment, I poured another drink and watched my phone light up repeatedly. 43 missed calls within an hour. Her messages told the story. 9:37. Why aren't you answering? 9:51. This isn't funny. Call me back. 10:04. What did you do? The accounts are frozen. 10:19. You can't do this. People depend on this business. I didn't respond. Let her experience what I'd endured for 18 months. The affair started on a Tuesday, the 1st, 1 a.m. arrival with excuses about late vendor meetings. I'd simply noted it and hired Peter, a former FBI investigator, within 3 weeks. Peter delivered comprehensive documentation, hotel visits, parking lot embraces, text messages discussing our future together and how much longer do we have to wait. I'd discovered her pre-drafted divorce papers filed 2 months before tonight. She'd been orchestrating this public humiliation as her empowerment moment, what she'd never considered. I'd seen everything coming and built countermeasures. Every investment was secured debt with recall provisions. The lease, equipment, financing, business licenses, insurance, trademark all in my name because banks don't trust 20-8-year-olds with dreams but no collateral. She built her empire on my foundation. Now I was removing every brick. At 11:43 p.m., aggressive pounding started on my door. Through the security camera, I saw her makeup smeared, hair disheveled, completely devastated. I opened slowly. What did you do? She screamed, pushing inside. $8 million just vanished. Not vanished, I corrected calmly. Withdrawn. I'm recalling the loan you violated. What terms? You invested in my restaurant. I loaned money with conditions. Conditions you breached. It's perfectly legal. Her face cycled through confusion, anger, disbelief. You're destroying my business because you're upset about the divorce. I'm protecting my investment because you committed fraud. What fraud? You solicited investment capital while planning to divorce the investor. You used borrowed funds to finance a personal relationship. You misrepresented everything. Understanding dawned. You knew about Chase for 6 months. Every hotel, every text, every lie. She collapsed onto my couch. 6 months. Why didn't you say anything? Why would I? You were planning your exit. I was planning mine. The difference is mine actually works. This is cruel. No, this is strategic. Cruel would have been confrontation and drama. This is just business, the clean separation you wanted. There are innocent people depending on me. My parents invested their retirement. Your parents will be protected. They were genuinely innocent. As for others, you should have considered them before publicly humiliating me for applause. My attorney called on speaker. The divorce papers list the Meridian as marital assets, but it's actually recalled debt with 0 value, actually negative value. Plus, the adultery evidence significantly impacts asset division. Her face went pale. You're taking everything, she whispered, leaving me with nothing. I'm leaving you with exactly what you earned, an expensive lesson in consequences. You're doing this because your ego is hurt. I laughed. You weren't in love with Chase. You loved the image, successful owner with celebrity chef boyfriend. You wanted the story. Chase was just the accessory. You don't know what I feel. I know Chase stopped returning your calls 20 minutes ago when Peter showed him the Meridian is bankrupt. She checked her phone, hands shaking. Whatever she saw confirmed it. Plans that depended on my money, I said. Without it, What does he get? A 30-something divorcee with no assets and a failed business. How can you be this cold? And you, through those 6 years away, the first time you checked into a hotel with another man. You made your choice. I'm ensuring you experience the full consequences. What am I supposed to do now? Figure it out. Build something. Earn something. Create something that isn't dependent on using people who care about you. I opened the door. But do it somewhere else. We're done. At the door, she stopped. I never wanted to hurt you. You wanted to humiliate me at your victory party. You wanted applause more than you cared about damage. Well, congratulations, you got everyone's attention. Now they'll watch what happens next. The next 72 hours unfolded predictably. The Meridian never opened. Staff found locked doors Monday morning. By Tuesday, vendors filed liens. By Wednesday, food blogs published highly anticipated restaurant closes before opening. Financial irregularities cited. Chase disappeared to New York, blocked her completely. The investors sent demand letters. Her business partner arrived at my office seeking answers. I showed her the documentation, the affair, the timeline, the fraud. She told us you were controlling. Courtney said, easier than admitting she lied to everyone who trusted her. I replied, her parents thanked me for protecting their investment with a structured repayment plan. Her father visited Friday morning. She's working as a hostess downtown now, starting from the bottom. Maybe that's what she needs, I said. 6 weeks later, I signed the final divorce papers. Clean break. No obligations. She wasn't present, couldn't afford time off from her hostess position that evening. I passed the restaurant where she worked. Through the window, she was seating customers in a standard uniform, looking tired but focused. Our eyes met for 2 seconds. No recognition, just strangers. 3 months after she called me her practice husband at a party. She was practicing humility at a hostess stand while I walked away with everything I'd built and protected. Months later, my firm sold for $62 million. She called. I heard about your sale. Congratulations. I wanted to apologize. You deserve to hear it. I was wrong about everything. I appreciate that. Chase is engaged now to an investor's daughter. You were right about everything. I usually am about people's motivations. I'm managing a small restaurant now. Honest work. Building without shortcuts. It'll take years, but maybe that's the point. Maybe it is. Do you ever think about what we could have been? I considered honestly. No, because the person I thought you were wouldn't have destroyed it.